But like I said, anger is monetizable. I've seen it myself. My views have declined a lot since not reviewing movies I didn't like anymore. And I've had to sit back and examine what my position was in that happening and really wonder if I had an impact on that and completely change myself as a result, because I don't like the way this platform's going. I don't like the way the discourse around certain fandoms is going.
I have found myself very disturbed at the state of the YouTube movie review community right now. When I started making videos in early 2014, all I knew was that I wanted to write and edit videos. I had a love of movies and was at the end of my World of Warcraft addiction, which you can clearly see in my early content. My love of movies became my driving force, and my childhood love of comic books became relevant since the comic book movie genre was becoming big. At that time, the most popular movie YouTubers were Chris Stuckmann, Jeremy Jahns, Screen Junkies, Mr. Sunday Movies, Red Letter Media, CinemaSins, and probably a few others I'm forgetting. These channels are still around and have a ton of subs, but with the exception of Red Letter Media, all of them have been getting their views demolished by channels like Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic. These are two examples of the worst kind of YouTube channels that have taken over the community. There are many smaller channels that follow in this vein. The idea is to nitpick big movie franchises to death and probably ignore everything else.
It shows that Obi-Wan is he's got this streak in him at this point in the OT, where he's willing to kind of stretch the truth to get Luke to kill Vader. That's why Obi-Wan allows himself to die.
And though, sure, I guess Reva could have looked into the archives and found out that the two were associates during the Clone Wars, I don't know what she could have found in there that implies the two were truly close friends. I don't recall seeing anything in the Clone Wars animated series or in the prequels that really establishes that.
Obi-Wan is a lover of droids now, so he fixes up Lola, Leia's little retarded toy droid, which is already on sale, by the way, which is the only reason why that thing goddamn exists. So he's a friend to all droids now. That's Obi-Wan's persona now.
Show me Obi-Wan's romance with what's-her-name off camera, where didn't he supposed to have some woman or somewhere or something? Same thing with Luke Skywalker. Why not just do a Luke Skywalker Mara Jade fucking story?
To give Critical Drinker some credit, he will sometimes do a review of something like Everything Everywhere All at Once and give you an honest take. But usually he just chooses to dive into some cringe political angle with his videos.
And on the surface, Thor Ragnarok seemed like great fun, at least until you started to look a bit deeper and realised that he basically spends the whole movie playing second fiddle to strong female character and strong female antagonist. There seems to be a bit of a debate going on about whether or not this movie is woke, mainly because of the demographics of certain characters. And to be fair, there is a bit of evidence to support this claim. If I was a cynical man, I'd say it's kind of interesting that the rich, corrupt scumbags targeted by the Riddler all happen to be straight, white, middle-aged men, but hey, I guess that's just a total coincidence. Or how about Rings of Power? Do you think Tolkien fans are pushing back against the show's very obvious attempts to twist and alter the lore of a classic and beloved fantasy world and infuse it with divisive 21st century sensibilities and ideology? Or do you think they just instinctively lose their minds at the prospect of different levels of melanin being shown on screen?
Rags, a YouTuber who follows this trend, literally did a 2-hour video mocking me for having the audacity to like the Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
If you think this is really good, then your ability to assess media is woefully inadequate, and you are simply not someone who needs to be talking about media online. You just have a clear lack of knowledge and a clear lack of skill when it comes to assessing media. Let's just be clear. You think you think that this Kenobi show is very, very good. That's embarrassing. Just so we're clear. That's embarrassing that you think this show is good. That is embarrassing.
But I want to go back to Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic, two channels that not only do the nitpicking, but also channel into another big rising trend in the movie YouTube community, the anti-woke crowd. They're joined by the likes of That Star Wars Girl, Ben Shapiro, and Midnight's Edge, and many others. They spend time looking for excuses to attack women, people of color, and other minorities for being in a movie. Sure, they avoid outright saying that's the problem, by instead saying they're fighting against the woke agenda. It's just an excuse to be sexist, racist, homophobic, and transphobic while hiding behind thinly veiled deniability.
With things like warrior man-spreading Galadriel.
My balls! I don't want my balls sticking to my legs!
Taking a character that was the pinnacle of feminine energy and the greatest of the female elves and turning her into a dude. What if I told you Disney Marvel did it again? Another bait and switch. Our hero in the Moon Knight show not only got her own origin story, but she got her own hero moment as she saved our titular character Moon Knight twice in his own finale. Within a month of Wonder Woman's release, we started getting articles like this: Captain Marvel and Marvel's long history of women problems. From Daily Beast, that should not be a surprise to anyone. The first superheroine standalone film was pushed back to 2019 to make way for more world-saving men. It's the latest in a long line of lady problems for the superhero factory. No, Marvel didn't have a single lady to focus on because Captain Marvel wasn't it, and they also didn't have a lady problem to begin with.
The rise of the nitpicking crowd found its roots in Red Letter Media's Mr. Plinkett series on the prequel trilogy. They are quite frankly hilarious parody videos where we follow a likely serial killer named Mr. Plinkett, undoubtedly inspired by Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
I also think that everyone just assumed that a Star Wars prequel would be an instant hit, regardless of what the plot was. Really, how hard could it be to screw up? It's like screwing up mashed potatoes. You boil the water and pour the packet.
No, Oh, wait. Was she a great big fat person?
As he does a huge breakdown on all the issues with the prequel trilogy. While Red Letter Media may have been the start of this problem, they are not the problem themselves. They simply made some really fun videos. Most of their content is just fun movie discussions, frequently covering B-movies. But Red Letter Media wasn't the worst about this. CinemaSins was a channel that exclusively covered flaws in movies with their sin counter. They could be fun, but eventually it just evolved into really bad movie takes, poking fun at every element of a movie, whether it was deserved or not.
I'm confused. I know he's super strong and the shield is basically indestructible, but how is the shield also a boomerang? Is the movie saying he's just so gifted with hand-eye coordination that he always throws it perfectly so it careens back to him?
They eventually tried saying they're just a parody channel and shouldn't be taken seriously, but they still largely were, no matter how valid their sins were. The problem is what this inspired. A group of movie YouTubers who seem to think that proper critique of media involves meticulous breakdown of every single element of a movie, to the point where I refuse to believe that these people could possibly enjoy watching these movies. These YouTubers usually approach this at an angle of believing only their opinions on these movies are right, and if you disagree with them, you are wrong and an idiot.
But you have to remember that the people who like Star Wars, like you, are idiots. They're very, very stupid. And so you have to explain everything to them and constantly remind them of everything because they don't remember things. Because they're unable to look at things objectively. Because they don't remember basic things like cause and effect.
They clearly go into these movies with the goal to hate them and milk content off of them. But that brings us to the next and much more troubling group. The rise of the anti-woke crowd, which coincides with the rise of Brie Larson videos and the hatred of The Last Jedi. If you want to have your channel truly take off in 2019, what you need to do was make a pile of poorly put together, half thought out videos complaining that Brie Larson said something poorly thought out, and now your whole world is ending.
This is like a 45-year-old woman. It's shocking to me that she's only 29. She's got a lot of road miles. There's a lot of kind of just, ex-wife about this woman. A lot of I owe you child support about this woman.
These channels were rising when Organized Chaos was at its height of popularity. It was a train I refused to get on, and Organized Chaos dive-bombed in popularity because of it. So now, rather than be silent on this rising trend, I have chosen to use my channel and its limited voice to speak out against these trends. I started this channel because I love movies, and let's face it, the world is falling apart. The state of movie YouTube is another symptom of that. Organized Chaos had its time as a semi-popular channel in late 2018 until mid-2019. It is possible I contributed to the hostile landscape in some way. My early series of moderate success, Top 5 Reasons It Sucks or Does It, tried to have fun pointing out issues in movies, But the video would also conclude with my honest thoughts on a movie. However, many did not seem to care about those thoughts, and any movie involved in that series would have people just assume I hate it. But looking back to how I may have contributed to the current movie landscape on this platform is not helpful. What I now have to ask is, how will I go forward in this new landscape? Well, Organized Chaos and the Organized Chaos podcast is here to fight against this trend and give you a real take on movies coming from a place of love for the medium, and to point out those reviewers that are destroying this community and maybe shout out a few that are helping. It will never call another reviewer an idiot for simply having a different take on media, but I have no problem calling them out if they are a negative influence on the community. The day of the honest reviewer may be dying on YouTube, but Organized Chaos would rather go down fighting than give in to the nitpicking and anti-woke crowd. Organized Chaos is here to give you a real take on movies. You may not agree with all my opinions, but I am not here to hate for the sake of hating. I am here to share my love of movies.
They think order and chaos are somehow opposites and try to control what won't be.
I used to fuck guys like you in prison.